proposal. Iowa Republican Steve King is one of them. He is a member of the House Tea Party caucus. Good morning, Mr. King.
Good morning.
So how much credit does the Tea Party take for what's ultimately in this bill?
You know, I listened to the dialogue all across the airwaves over the last couple of days. I think they're getting it about right. There's a strong thread from the Tea Parties that goes up through the constitutional conservatives here in Congress. And I saw the numbers of Republicans that would vote no on the Boehner bill shrink down to 22 in the vote last Friday, but they grew again in scores that voted against it last night. So I think that says that there's a strong message there. It doesn't mean that they won't break from the hard Tea Party line, but there is a solid core here in the House, and especially I'm impressed with the Senate. A fewer numbers over there, of course, but there's a solid core in the Senate, and any kind of movement starts small and grows. I think it's a growing movement, not a shrinking movement. Democrats are trying to marginalize it. That should tell us something.
But just help me understand this, because is this a victory for the Tea Party? Because they didn't want the debt ceiling, I don't have to tell you, you didn't want the debt ceiling raised at all. And of course it is being raised. So how much of a victory is this?
Yeah, this Tea Party is not going to declare it a victory, and I certainly don't. But it's this, that it has changed the debate, and all Republicans will tell you that, shifted it from how much are we going to increase to how much are we going to cut of the growing deficit, which isn't particularly dramatic. But it takes another step down the road. I wanted to stand on this place and this time and fight this on this debt ceiling, because I want to have a real shakedown on what the priorities of and the responsibilities of a government really are. We have another couple, 3 months to make the case for a balanced budget amendment, bring back, cut cap in balance. But this is a preliminary battle. Some might call it Bull Run, some might call it Manassas.
And on the flip side, how much responsibility does the Tea Party bear for all of the hand-wringing and the angst and the frustration that even regular Americans have felt over this past month?
Well, if they went through some, I'm sorry about that, but it's our job to go through it here. And one of the reasons that we have this clash of ideas in Washington is so that we don't have to clash in the streets of America. And we saw Tea Party people come out all across this country, and I go to as many events as I can and walk around and talk to people. These are patriotic Americans, red, white, and blue, Gadsden flags. They could be my church picnic. They're very, very energized. They've stepped up to this responsibility, and they're a big reason why we have a majority in the House of Representatives. We are a blocking majority with 87 new freshmen here. We're not yet a majority that can assert itself strongly enough against the Senate and against the White House. I think that changes in the fall of 2012, and if it does, the Tea Party will have a lot to do with that.
And what about this fall? Forget 2012. What about this November when new recommendations are made? Will the Tea Party be represented on the super committee?
Well, I wouldn't make that prediction. I would hope that's the case. But I wouldn't make that prediction. It would look to me that the leadership is going to want to put people there that they have a little more influence with in decision making, if I might say that delicately. And so I don't expect there will be, but there will be at least some encouragement that they put some people on there that will be solid, that won't give up, that won't back up, that'll stand on these principles. And if you look at the trajectory of what happened yesterday in the House, we were looking at, if we do nothing, our national debt in 10 years would be $28 trillion. If we accept the Ryan budget, our national debt in 10 years would be $23 trillion. And what we did yesterday dials our national debt projected over 10 years just down to $26 trillion. So it's, it's not as good as the Ryan budget. It's a couple $1 trillion better than it might have been, but it's just barely a start, and we're still growing spending irresponsibly. We've got to do something.
All right, on that note, Congressman Steve King, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much.